One for all of our panellists. If we look at emerging tech, how important is it to build an artificial intelligence sovereign capability?
We've seen major investments in different parts of the world. Those investments and the price tags that have come with them should not be the thing that we aim for necessarily ourselves, that we just go dollar for dollar matching, but that we make an assessment relative to what we need to achieve on our soil, what we're hoping to get out of it, and what investment will drive it. And we're just being left behind. And I'm genuinely concerned that, some of the estimates that have been made about the economic value that could be generated through application of AI, it could be around 15 bill is one estimate I saw, and 70% of that will accrue to just 2 countries, being on either side of the Pacific, and we'll just get left behind. And it's really denying in terms of jobs and in terms of quality of life, because it's not just an economic thing, but AI can lead to some great social benefit as well if applied properly. We'll miss out longer term. We've got to get our act together on it, and I just don't feel that we really have as a country done it. I'm sick of marketing terms like roadmaps being thrown around as some sort of excuse for action. We've really got to set ourselves harder targets backed up by serious dollars and backed up by a uniform commitment across government, business and the community to see this be realised.
AI is often used to describe a point, a Siri or a bot, chatbot, but in practice AI is potentially pervasive in every economy sector, every industry sector, every bit of infrastructure. It's hard to imagine having a road or a sewerage pipe in the future without having AI embedded into it. It's going to be everywhere. So not having a sovereign capability is a bit like saying we don't need a sovereign software development capability, we don't need a sovereign banking capability, we could outsource the whole thing. Yeah. It is so fundamentally important to every aspect of every part of business.
I was just thinking that, this crisis actually provides an opportunity. We've seen globally that, a lot of big companies have had to let go of some really good talent. And no doubt people are looking to Australia to perhaps come home. We've kind of managed the health side of things very, very well. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of bring some of that talent home and really put it to work. I think AI is one thing, but what I see as a major gap is translating that data and that understanding into actually technology and digital services and products that actually solve problems. So one thing is attracting it, absolutely, and then nurturing it, and then also the translation of that into the market. And we don't have the experience or the leadership, and therefore that next generation down really doesn't have anyone to learn from.
So then what does a skills base for artificial intelligence and building that capability look like?
Well, it's going to start with a lot more people who've got tech qualifications, which are coming out of our universities. And in the last few years, we simply haven't been producing enough of them. Our technology workforce has gone through a boom in the period leading up to the COVID-19 crisis. I remember when we had 500,000 technology workers. Well, we now have 750,000 of them, and it's not going to be long until we need 1 million technology workers in this country. That is enormous. That's almost larger than the size of Adelaide, of the number of technology workers which we're going to need in this country. And yet each year, out of our universities, we're graduating maybe 5,000, 6,000 IT graduates per year. And that means we're relying a lot on migrants to fill the skill shortage, or people moving from other jobs. Now that's not bad in the short term, but we're going to need a lot more people with technology qualifications if we're going to meet, as Ian said, that challenge of embedding AI everywhere. It starts with good tech qualifications.
And the thing about that is, it's not just a mechanistic outcome that we're looking for. This is about getting smart people applying technology to problems to improve the quality of life, and improve the way the joint works. And that's what's critical about this. Having this investment in people, in human capital, can actually transform the country longer term. And having that longer term vision with a clear sense of benefit is really important. We need to get a lot more energised about this. And the thing that stuns me is that the cultural cringe that previous generations identified in this country still exists today here. We still do not back enough of our local talent. We still do not give enough opportunity for local firms, tech firms, to get ahead. And we don't celebrate their achievements enough. And I think we do need to do more of that, because I think once the sort of the cultural aspects get dealt with a lot more, I think the type of shortfalls that you've just talked about get filled, because the enthusiasm is there, the support is there, the investment is made by government to back that in, and it has that longer term benefit. But we've not really focused on this as a country enough to say this is something that's really important for us longer term and do it. We've seen just on that, in terms of what we saw in, either from Estonia through to the UK. With the UK in terms of AI, and you're asking about what talent's required, they said we need a lot more in terms of data scientists. So what do? They came up with a game plan about where they drive things in the UK. They're offering scholarships. They're trying to get more PhD work being done. They've really driven that. Estonia rebuilt its economy, once it got out of an Eastern Soviet bloc, freed itself of that and said, right, where do we go next? And they drove it. They had a compelling national story that saw change happen, and we've got to be able to have the same.